What is going on with... Okay, there we go. Was wondering what's going on here. Alright, let's see here. How are we doing here tonight? Trying to use... react to dinosaur... Oh, that's... How's it going, everybody? Well, yeah, we're doing a little we're doing another live react, because you guys really seem to like me reacting to stuff, so... Yeah, today we'll be checking out Sawyer Lee's fantasy art. So, we're gonna start out with the first episode of Dragon Slayer Codex, right? Let's see, so without further ado, let's check out the world of the Dragon Slayer Codex, shall we? Here we go. Alright. Yeah, I've actually seen these already, but it's still awesome. These are still awesome concepts. That sounds terrifying. That sounds haunting.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dragon Slayer Codex. My first video got plenty of excitement, which is just amazing, and I cannot thank you all enough. This is the second video in the series, and will be the start of the Dragon Profiles.
Well, it's deleted, but you know, this is the first dragon we're checking out.
Today, I'm going to share with you the first species of dragon we will cover, the Scarlet Clasher.
Yeah, this is definitely not what you'd find in How to Train Your Dragon.
This species is found along the interior of the eastern landmass, in a biome known as
Hang on, look. This is a very detailed map. I mean, yeah, in case you didn't realize, I actually left a link to Sawyer Lee's channel. Check that out. And there's also a Kickstarter for his book, so be sure to check him out. That's a lot. Yeah, this is a very detailed map. This is the first dragon we're talking about, but look at all this. You got a desert region, you got the frozen north, you got, I'm assuming, quite a few patches of jungle and lots of forest, and I'm guessing lots of canyons as well. Yeah, this is really detailed. Wonder what, yeah, you guys, I'm sure you guys would love to see what other we're not going to check out every dragon today, because I actually wanted to let you guys check that out for yourself, and maybe see a few things that I'm reacting to with my brain added to this.
Grass. This locale is distinguished by its prairie and savanna flatlands, wide biodiversity, and fluctuating temperatures. Some things to note. An interchanging dry and wet season. The inland nature of the great grass means it is susceptible to drought during the summer months,
and fire,
the dirt and testing the thirst of its inhabitants. Animals are less active during this time, meaning a very well-prepared slayer can traverse relatively unbothered. However, they may soon find their own supplies become desirable loot for even the most passive of beasts, becoming a welcome target in the process.
Watch out for the bandits!
The dry, low-pressure winds of the Dune Sea to the south mingle with the cool, high-pressure air of the northern ice to create monsoons above the great grass, quenching the thirst of the animals within.
This could be a very interesting world of D&D if this were a map or a world somewhere. I mean, I know it's not official stats, but just imagine. I mean, look at the squares. There's so much you can do with this world. Yeah, there's definitely to watch out for here. Hashtag Dragon Slayer D&D, please and thank you.
The open territory of this land makes it difficult for human habitation despite the abundance of resources. Past attempts have been ransacked clean of any and all supplies by the dragons within. As such, a traveler will find no settlements within the depths of this continent. It remains largely unexplored due to this reason alone, and traders who have survived the journey whisper great and wonderful tales of the riches found in its depths, as well as the monsters. The topography of the Great Grass is the flattest in the entire known world. One can
Imagine a world so dangerous, a meadow so dangerous that it's completely uninhabitable. Yikes!
And flat land means there is no cover. Scarlet lashers are, as one can assume by their name, red, visible from far away to a slayer, but not so to their mammalian quarry, who, with their poor color vision, see only a muddy green blending in with the grasses.
Unless you're a human, I mean, we see colors just fine.
And, assuming the figure here is at 182 centimeters each.
Hold on, let's put this into scale. Let's see, okay, assuming everyone is 6 foot here, that's 6 foot, 12 foot. That's about 15 feet tall. That's already a big dragon. And if we're gonna multiply that to the tail, that's... Oh, the tail alone is probably at least a good 10 meters. Just the tail alone! And it's bright red. That's probably where the fire is going to. Assuming it can breathe fire. I mean, that is a literal hot whip.
The lasher stands at 6.37 meters tall. Such height offers it a visual advantage while walking among the tall grass.
Yeah, that's definitely a giraffe's eye view.
Much longer. Approximately 15 meters in length.
Okay, we're doing some more math. Let's see. A meter is about 3 feet, so 15 times 3, that's 15. 45 feet long. Approximately. Wait, no. Wait, no. Let's see. 15. 15 plus 430. Yeah, that's at least 45 feet long. Maybe 50 in a bad day for us.
The constant lashing and writhing make it difficult to measure for certain. As for weight, it clocks in at a maximum of 1 ton. A slayer can easily forget that getting accidentally stepped on is just as cruel a fate as any dragonfire. The name Lasher stems from their most infamous feature, a long whip-like tail. Their primary tool, this tail is used in attack, herding prey with its dreadful crack, and in communication with one another. The scales armoring the tail are also infused with mineral iron from their diet, providing further strength and durability. Trying to cleave it off is known as a rookie's mistake.
Just go for the head!
Atop their head lies a notable cask, a resonating organ which amplifies sound to a lethal degree. Their skull sports an elongated cranium.
Monster hunters out there, remember to get extra strong earplugs, because you're probably going to need it.
Indicative of a high intelligence, as evidenced in their complex.
Oh, great, and they're extremely smart.
A small prey specialist, the Scarlet Lasher prefers its meals weak and inferior to itself. They may be seen patrolling their territories along regular paths, before suddenly switching it up to get the edge on their victims. A lifestyle pursuing small, clever prey has shaped the lasher into a remarkably intelligent animal, and scouting parties have observed them digging traps and pitfalls in which to chase their quarry.
And it's digging traps
Slayers
too!
have described hunts to feel more like a game of cat and mouse, where tight coordination is needed to avoid the whip crack of that dreadful tail. This species is diurnal, preferring high visibility from which to survey its territory. Females are known to be more nomadic than males, and follow large herds of the grassy armorhead, a species of derived boar, and part of a highly
They got wildlife aside from dragons.
Soaring far enough behind as not to startle them until it is time to hunt. One. Being a small game specialist, humans are a prime fit for its natural diet.
Oh
Towns
no!
on the fringes of the great grass.
Well, it's a good thing I'm a fish. They ain't gonna find me in the water.
Etching the red tail
Or can
motif
they?
into a local cultural iconography. Scarlet lashers are a very showy species and use several methods
I mean,
to
it's
flaunt
evident with
themselves.
the
The male lasher
over-exaggerated
begins courtship
tail.
by claiming a lone standing tree as his home territory, something sturdy and strong. Then he proceeds to strip it of all its branches and leaves. Fragile
Okay,
twigs
it's
or
a
other obscure
environmental
plant matter.
terrorist by the looks of it.
Once it is bear's bone and thoroughly scent-marked, he, much like the shrike of earth, will skewer his prey on the branches of this new altar like grotesque decorations. Notable slayers, humble farmers, and royalty alike will sometimes be found amid the prey strewn about the tree.
Okay, I take it back. This is a straight-up menace. I mean, this is getting Vlad the Impaler a cuddly name right now. Sheesh! I mean, look at this poor guy here. He's not even half the man he used to be. Literally. And is that a dragon tail? What? Is this thing also a cannibal? Lasher, you are a menace!
To the horror of all. During this decorating phase, the lasher will not eat for up to 2 weeks as a show of his endurance. Once complete, he will use the resonating
I mean, with all the bodies it's got, I would imagine it would be definitely. Wouldn't worry about starving.
To a show. He will pick the corpses off of the tree and fling them towards her high in the air. And she will test their freshness, size, and quality, as well as his own fitness by the distance he throws these corpses.
Oh, that's just humiliation now. You're playing with the bodies?
They will mate, and she will lay a clutch of 12 eggs at the base of the tree. Lasher eggs are large and hard-shelled. Development takes upwards of 11 months, where the shell grows continuous layers for protection. You can identify a scarlet lasher's egg by their orange and yellow luster. These shells are highly prized as valuables in the towns of North Bay and Wood, found along the perimeter of the Great Grass. Once hatched, the youngling, called a whelp, emerges bright green
or wormling
resembling
a
the long
different
strands
world.
of grass they hide among while their parents forage. Initially, lasher whelps were misidentified as a separate species, simply dubbed a grass dragon, and excursions to collect specimens for research were launched. Rather quickly did the scholars learn of the grass dragon's true identity when the furious, crimson adults descended from the sky.
Oh, that's not
After several years with
comforting.
their parents, the young dragon will leave their home territory in search of their own tree to call their own, and decorate with a horde of flesh and bone.
Another generation of serial
Should you
killers.
encounter this sly dragon while out on the field, you should
how do
be
we
aware
kill
of
it?
its strengths and weaknesses. The lasher has range and attack speed. You will never see that tail coming. Intelligence. The beast will attempt to lure you into traps of its own making. Cruelty. This intelligence has given the lasher a particular mean streak, even among the dragons.
Yeah!
Pair work. They will hunt together while raising young.
Great! They work in
The lasher
packs.
requires, however, open spaces to best use its abilities, thus is claustrophobic. Try.
Which begs the question, would it be a very good player at whack-a-mole? I just have to ask. I mean, if we can reverse play whack-a-mole, it would be a very hard time for the dragon.
Try to use Ebola to incapacitate.
Ebola?
The very
What?
work that makes it so dangerous is also quite easy to distract. A dragon horn crafted from one's nasal cask will do well to divert its attention. The skin between the base of its neck and chest is also particularly thin, while hard to hit.
Yes, aim for the head. I'm taking Thanos' advice.
When on the field, knowing how to identify a dragon species by its tracks or its silhouette from a distance is absolutely vital. The wing shape of the lasher is broad, pointed, and shows considerable slotting on the membrane.
And I think the tail is a big
There are
dead
three
giveaway.
claws on each wing, the third acting as a thumb while on the ground. The tracks are even more important. A walking lasher will always leave behind evidence of its long, sweeping tail, much like a snake's track. The footprint itself is long, sporting 4 visible claw imprints. Scarlet lashers are dangerous beasts that seek out settlements to lure slayers to their own demise. Always pursue one in a group, as it would only love for you to face it alone. Now that you have learned the ways of the Scarlet Lasher, you are ever closer to becoming a fully fledged dragon slayer.
Or at least a tourist around here. Anyway, let's... Yeah, that's literally the first dragon that we met. Imagine. I'm actually surprised it doesn't breathe fire, but then again, if you have a long tail, like, that's over 2/3 of your entire body, give or take, I would imagine you wouldn't need much firepower when all the flames go right to the tail, able to cut people in half. Yeah, that's very comforting. And hello, everyone. How's it going? Yeah, we are checking out Sawyer Lee's videos, and right now we are checking out the Wailing Bishop. So let us commence another journey. And I'm guessing we're in the desert now. Okay, the Wailing Bishop.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dragon Slayer Codex. Last time, we studied the Scarlet Lasher in the deep plains of the Greek grass. But today, we venture south, where the air burns dry, the sun sears the ground, and the lack of water is the only danger to look out for.
Another Arabian Nights!
To observe the ominous Wailing Bishop in its natural habitat, an endless stretch of sand. Wailing Bishops inhabit a region of the western deserts known as the Dune Sea, a vast land of fine, powdery sand that stretches between the surrounding gorge lands and the central eternal sandstorm.
There's a sandstorm forever whirling in there?
Sand equals poor footing. It is notoriously difficult to move on foot in this region, as the individual...
That's where you need a magic carpet.
leg sink fairly deep while walking.
Or a genie, preferably.
Poor footing can spell doom for even the most prepared of slayers. The sun. Strong rays are the hallmark of any desert, but the heat of the Dune Sea is particularly deadly. There is no shade in which to hide from the ball of fire.
Yeah, you won't catch me in there.
A shaded vehicle is a must while traveling here. Water? None. Only deep beneath the desert lies any moisture, which is unavailable for human travelers, as well as most animals existing here. Origin. The Dune Sea's signature powder sand is believed to be formed when ordinary rock and gravel is pulled into the powerful winds of the eternal sandstorm, ground into a fine dust before being flung back out.
What's causing that sandstorm?
This continuous cycle of re-erosion over millennia has created the Dune Sea as it is today. One of the first things an observer will note about the whaling bishop are its gleaming silver scales. In healthy young individuals, they may even take on a glittering quality in direct light.
It's already glittering right now.
They seem counterproductive for a desert creature, but this coat of chrome is very good at deflecting heat and light off of the dragon's body, affording it extra precious minutes of time to forage. While resting after a flight, they raise their scales much like a bird does its feathers, and open their maw in a wide gape, venting the excess heat from their skin.
Like crocodiles do.
When aging, the scales gradually tarnish and stain a dark gray, marked by years of sun exposure.
Oh, that's comforting.
Species fights.
If
the species stain.
Hold on. Let's go back real quick, back to here. Imagine the sun being in the sun so long, your skin turns from a fair white to an ashy color. Like that is brutal out here. Yeah, forget umbrellas. That ain't gonna help out here. Ugh. Alright, moving on.
Erosion and interspecies fights. The species stands at 5 meters tall, deceptive as this animal's neck is naturally very low slung. And about 7 meters long, the bishop's body is rather compound in adaptation to their harsh conditions. As for weight, the beast clocks in at 2.1 tons on average.
So a bigger dragon than last time.
Around by the sands it must use for forage.
My damn
wings are impressive, huge, wide, and perfect for riding the many cyclic therm.
I'm pausing again. I mean, can we just appreciate the voice of the narrator here? I mean, just how quiet and soothing it is. You could literally hear stories about the worst fates, on the most gruesome deaths, and monsters that could literally rip you to shreds and burn you to ash, and yet somehow you can sleep without nightmares. That takes a special kind of talent. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to it as we explain the whaling bishop.
Low winds present in the Dune Sea. They measure up to 16 meters in wingspan. The wings' dazzling scales in flight have led to many ancient legends regarding champion-crested dragons of old. The maw is strongly curved upwards in what some may describe as a reptilian grin.
Yeah, why is it like that?
It varies between individuals, but is helpful in catching prey in flight, effectively rolling.
Oh, so like a skewer. A sea skimmer.
Even the nose sports a large leather not unlike that seen in the Gariel. It gives the bishop a striking silhouette, and is present in both sexes. Scholars theorize it may have to do with mutual courtship, as it contains precious fat reserves that may be a sign of fortitude in the species.
I mean, you gotta be healthy out here in the middle of the desert.
Exceptional at perceiving depth. Do not bother hiding from this dragon, as it would only humiliate you in your last moment. The legs are long and gracile, armed with intimidating spurs used in fights for nesting space, mates, or even over prey. The claws are, in contrast, rather small, indicating that they are not used in prey capture. There are also specialized scales on each digit that spread outwards, acting as a sort of snowshoe while walking the powdered sands.
Well,
The roughly trapezoidal back.
well, that solves our problem with walking in the desert. We need sand shoes. Just wide enough to not sink to the sandy depths below.
Tapers into a rather simple tail, adorned with a rudder at its tip for better flight control.
I would imagine they'd be great flyers.
This species is named for its morose, wire-like calls it produces while on the wing, said to be a funeral chant before a slayer's demise.
I would say more like a really big hummingbird's wings flapping or something. Or maybe a giant bumblebee in flight as well. That's kind of how I imagine the sound would be like. Yeah, either a giant hummingbird or a giant bumblebee.
In an unnerving backdrop to the desolate landscape of the Dune Sea. These calls establish a bishop's presence to others, warning them to stay away from their claimed patch of desert for the day's forage, and they hate to share. Intruders are met with shoulder crushing and slashing attacks with their spurs. Whoever hits the ground and stays still must leave. Now, whaling bishops are very specialized animals, being sand skimmers. They fly low over the dunes with their jaws barely above the sand, snapping shut at the slightest sense of movement for their favorite prey, the burrowing dune. These medium-sized blind creatures store water in various sacs, bladders, and a fatty hump on their back, making them a perfect source of protein and hydration for nearly every creature in the desert.
How deep is the underground water in this desert? It can't exactly be just a few inches below. I'd say at least a good few 100 feet. Sheesh. How big are these things? At least 3 feet.
A true keystone species. But what does a bishop do with all the accidentally swallowed sand? It melts it down in its gullet and regurgitates it into a molten glass, which hardens black upon impact. This glass can be found in spires across the desert, encasing slayers of old who dared challenge them. These glass structures are also used in nest building, forming into elaborate structures called cathedrals.
I think that's how we made the Iron Throne, out of glass. Just send a dragon, have it puke out some liquid glass, and yeah, I could see a few glassmakers really find high value with this dragon.
The most elaborate of these takes years to build, and is the life's work of a whaling bishop. The very oldest of dragons are of the highest status for this reason, and their black, jagged castles can be seen far off on the horizon. A note on bishop social structures. This species gathers in loose collections called a ministry, which spread over several miles, yet remain closely interconnected.
I don't know how we came up with ministry, but I guess it fits.
And a pecking order of sorts has developed to determine the rights to the dune moles, based on time of day. Thus, you have the sun bishops and the moon bishops. The sun are the younger, injured, or otherwise lower individuals on the pecking order.
Well, that's kind of a simple and brutal concept.
When the sun burns so hot, they have a mere hour before it becomes overbearing. Prey is likewise less active at this time, adding to the challenge. Sun bishops are the most likely to attack traveling caravans, as they are eager to get a meal before time runs out.
I mean, you gotta get what you can.
This social order, the strongest dragons in their prime, the old tarnished popes in their black glass cathedrals, the healthiest of the bunch. Moon bishops hunt, as expected, at night, when the sun poses no issue, and prey activity is at its highest. As they are well fed and often strong, moons are much harder to fight, yet are the least likely to attack outright, being preoccupied with their sand-skimming activities. Any bishop can change rank. Old males in their cathedrals can be broken and forced back down to the sun category.
Oh, it's one of... Oh, it's survival. Oh, boy.
And a young dragon who successfully breaks an elder, builds a suitable nest, or otherwise holds its own for long enough, will ascend to the moon rank.
But how do we kill it?
The dragon's relationship with humans is testy.
Oof!
Many whaling
he's seen better days.
As food and will receive no ill effects in consuming them. However, older individuals know the relatively low nutritional value of a human and proceed to ignore them. Sometimes large sand vehicles will be targeted for the water they carry, and some farms bordering the dunes will be raided for their watery, hearty plants.
I mean, you need water in a desert.
A famous bishop-rider duo of mythological status.
And I was told there were no dragon riders in this world. Can any dragon be bred, or are there specific ones? Because I would imagine training a dragon would not exactly be as easy as other depictions would tell you.
The characters would go on to be heroes in a variety of folk tales woven to spread cultural values among the desert cultures of the Houndkeeper clans. Whether the duo was real at one point or purely a myth remains lost to the fogs of time. In a more realistic sense, the shards of black glass are used extensively in weapons.
Glass shards! It's a glassmaker's dream!
Being sharp, sturdier than conventional glass, and quite visually striking.
Sturdier? Like, I hope it's as strong as steel.
Reproduction. Once the glass nest is at a suitable size and the dragon of age, usually between 24 and 30 years, a whaling bishop will seek a mate. A very selective process, as a pair may remain together for many years, even for life. The male will clean his nest of any debris, ensuring the glass is of its highest luster. He will patrol the interior and surrounding area, sweeping his tail along any rocks or shrubs to spread his pheromone before preparing his performance. He will emit an incredibly low-frequency call, one which rumbles for miles. If consistent, it will be picked over the rivaling males in in territory surrounding his own, too far to see, but most definitely heard. If a female approaches, his call slowly increases in volume, almost choir-like in sound. She will match his pitch. Together, they will use their flexible scales to create a mesmerizing hum via stridulation. If they keep the
I
same
would imagine this sound would be coming
they
from
deem
their
the other compatible,
nostrils.
and thus begin their coupling. Clutches are laying in soft sand piled within the glass nest, often on a tall cliffside, bordering the gorge lands, for extra security, and usually number in two. The egg itself is beige or brown, developing a bumpy, rugose texture shortly after
And
laying.
massive based on
This is
what
believed
how
to
scaled the human is.
the surrounding stones within the nest, and keep hidden from common nest raiders, such as the crag dog and the clay false dragon. The whelp, fresh
Wait,
out of the egg,
Hold on. Ahem. The crag dog. Wild canines that exhibit exceptional agility. They emerge at night to hunt lizards in packs. They are the ancestor of the king hound. Wonder what a king hound is. Maybe we'll find out at a later time or something. Or you guys can later on, but let's see what...
clay false.
The clay false dragon. A flying reptile seen flighting between canyon walls. They may seem like dragons, but share no relation. Except maybe, do they breathe fire? Because every dragon has to have some kind of firepower. Of some kind.
Dragon. The whelp, fresh out of the egg,
It's cute
has
and
a
pink!
coat of egg skin, while in stark contrast to the silver adults. It too aids in camouflage, as boiling bishops tend to nest in tall, pink, salt-clad cliffs facing the dune sea. This layer of skin is webby in texture, peels off.
I would imagine that is a big standout, but if it says there are pink canyons, that... What kind of canyons are pink? I don't know. We'll keep going. I see it.
Off over the coming months, where it is then eaten by the whelp to conserve nutrients. At this stage, they begin hunting for vermin around the nest, under the watchful eye of their parents. They are additionally fed a watery crop milk regurgitated from special glands in both parents' gullets. They are lovingly raised, as loving as a dragon can be, until 1 year of age, where their silver scales growing and they resemble small adults. Here, the territorial instinct of the adults set in, and they drive the young away, where it finds its own lands to skim, social barriers to cross, and winds to soar.
And it would be hundreds of miles, I would imagine.
The wailing bishop is not only large and imposing, but its molten glass breath weapon makes it particularly dangerous. Please note its strengths and weaknesses. Strength. The bishop has keen senses, able to detect prey by the slightest movements
Yeah,
they make.
great eyesight.
Stamina. They can fly for an entire night, much longer than most dragons.
I mean, it's a
Not
desert. I
just
mean,
any person
it's probably the most common way to travel.
molten glass. Either it burns your caravan or encases your burned corpse for decades. Both unsavory.
Yeah, I'll pass on the glass.
Accuracy. Snatching prey at the right moment means their jaws are very accurate in their movement. It is unlikely they will miss. Now, for the weaknesses. Momentum. The dragon is best suited to long, continuous, swooping flight, is poor at tight turns.
So not agile.
Prior altercations with others of its kind may weaken it before a confrontation with the Slayer.
So, in order to fight a dragon, you must somehow summon another dragon. Hey, Larry! Hey, Larry, this guy over there said that you cannot fly. Oh, yep, I did it now.
And their weak spot, behind the horns. Directly behind their crest lies a vulnerable link of skin, the most exposed part of the dragon.
Oh yeah, that's comforting. Go behind the head, but how do you get to it?
While on the dunes, dust clouds may be seen at a distance. These are skimming bishops, a dead giveaway. At a closer vantage point, their broad wings and necks.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any tracks. That thing is flying everywhere.
The silvery shine of their hide. Shards and pillars of glass may be seen in areas of high activity as well, sometimes even encasing relics of bygone eras. As for their tracks, never seen. Solely as the dunes shift so commonly that any claw print is covered up in mere.
Oh, I didn't even account for the sand.
Like any desert beast, the whaling bishop has created a means to survive their hostile environment. The slayer pursuing one must be equally opportunistic in their tactic. Know the rules to break the rules, and you may see the sun rise once more over the sandy slopes of the
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. I am so sorry, I had to. No, you know the rules, and so do I.
Thank you to my patrons so much for me.
Oh, crap. Did nobody even see any of that? Crap. Alright, anyone else on my chat? How we doing, chat? What about a dragon that can paralyze you and its venom? Okay, what are we... Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Oh, no. I did not see the chat. I am so sorry. Okay, I guess we won't be watching this one, but let's see. Building. Actually, this is a pretty good one. Let's see. This is a metal dragon. Without further ado, let's see what scourges of fire await us in the world of Dragon Slayer Codex.
With a human concept than one might initially realize, they are a creature that wields fire as recklessly as we do. They grow immense at the pace of empires. They amass vast hoards of gold kept by them at the expense of others. It is no secret why dragons are so prevalent in the mythos across the world. They reflect not only humanity's primal fears, but humanity itself. There exists such a dragon in the world of the Dragon Slayer Codex, a beast that, for its grand size, is keenly invested in the profits of man. Today, we cover the Hole Taker. I'm Sawyer Lee, and I'm back with another video. I've been incredibly busy running the Kickstarter campaign for the first book in the series, and it has been a thrill. The project was fully funded in under 2 hours, can you believe that?
Yeah, the concepts are amazing. If you guys want to check out the Dragon Slayer Codex, be sure to check out the link below. And I'm sure, and if you find the Kickstarter there, you might want to get yourself a copy. I know I did. And it's gonna be a long wait till March, but it's gonna be well worth it. Just look, I mean, we're already seeing a bunch of awesome dragons already. But anyway, back to the metal breather.
And we continue to surpass stretch goals, making the book even better. So thank you for that.
Congrats,
if you'd like
man.
a copy
You
yourself,
deserve
head
it.
on over to the Kickstarter page before they run out. I'm so excited at the response to this, and I'm only stoked to continue to provide. Now, onto the dragon. What would a dragon of such classic description look like as an animal? The Hole Taker is classified as an immense dragon and is considered the third largest flying species. Generally, large dragon species spend most of their time on the ground, flying only to travel vast distances or to hunt. Hole Takers are an exception, in that they are eager flyers and quite athletic for their size. Most sightings occur on 2 occasions, from afar and way to up close. To identify at a distance, look at its wing silhouette. You'll see an expanded membrane running down to the base of the tail, which itself is of medium length and pulls the center of gravity to the chest, which is wrapped in scaly armor. The tail has a fleshy fin at its tip, which...
My teeth are swords. My claws are spears. My wings are a hurricane. The shock of my tail, a thunderbolt. I am fire. I am death. Sorry, it was too easy.
aids in steering and can be used in display. They take long, slow wing beats and are steady in flight. If you are unfortunate enough to meet this beast up close, that means it has begun a raid on your settlement, the nature of which I will detail later. Survivors often cite the teeth as the first thing they notice, as its head peers, corners, and devours citizens. Hole Taker teeth are huge, distinct, and exposed. The slayer will notice that most dragon teeth, in fact, are not covered by lips like most animals. The reason for this is theorized to be a constant intimidation display to rivals and would-be attackers. If a fire breather can maintain healthy teeth despite exposure to the elements and their own fire, it is certainly not to be messed with. Dragon teeth replace themselves over the years as well. In Hole Takers, 4 fangs are enlarged and hooked, acting as a sort of clamp. These teeth are serrated as well, making bites from even half
good! Literal sword-like teeth!
Faces, necks, and crests of various hues. Blue is an expensive color in nature, produced by tricks of the light. The bright color soaks thick armor along the neck, which diverts enemy attention away from less protected areas. It is used in courtship as well. The blue scales may glimmer gently, like an ore or an opal. Kings and blacksmiths prize these scales as symbols of rulership or good fortune in the forge. Hole Taker ecology is fascinating. They are the largest of the active flying dragons, and must feed every other day, a sharp contrast to the monthly feed of the Great Greensbane, for example. Such high demand has shaped this dragon into an adaptable creature that bends to its environment. This species grows to fit its habitat, meaning that there are a variety of adult sizes any given individual can be. Less productive areas result in smaller but quicker ones, and well-fed dragons can become immense. They are found in rock spire habitat near the equator, but range rather far. These spires have access to high peaks to launch from, hot geysers below, and the warm air supports dense wildlife populations on which this dragon feeds.
And great updress!
Many Hole Takers can be seen soaring the coasts in search of beached sea monsters, which is a surprisingly reliable food source. They must compete with each other for
sea monsters!
prize,
We gotta see those!
In a more active way, they target megafaunal animals such as the white neck. This creature is a derived relative to sheep, evolved convergently with calicotheres to fill a similar ecological role.
Okay, hold on. Let's read this real quick. The whitenecks. Large and distinct, the whiteneck is a beast who roams the cool, temperate forests of the near north. Despite appearances, it is closely related to sheep, their common ancestor evolving to survive frequent draconic presence. I wonder if this is gonna be what our cattle is gonna look like if dragons actually existed. So many changes would be, a lot of changes would be happening if dragons were part of our daily lives. Calm in temperament, they may be seen employed in caravan voyages, Usually to aid in settling a new village, they rut in the spring, a red ooze dripping from their chest. During this time, males are aggressive and may attack even humans unprovoked. Interestingly, the skin on their back is hard and
These beasts are used by some nomadic groups to carry supplies.
cornified, all the better to survive the dragon fire. Derived from hooves, the claws are powerful and sharp. Used both to pull down branches for feeding and defending itself alike. So in other words, guys and travelers, do not get in the way of those kicks.
To new settlements at risk of putting a target on their back. Hold takers may consume giants as well. When tackling large prey, they do so in the open. Flying low, the dragon slams into its target and uses its immense, hooked talons to try and lift it into the air. The momentum of the initial swoop then enables it to swing prey from its talons into its massive maw, where its serrated teeth cause bleeding while restraining the prey in its grasp. If the struggle is too much, it lets go in the hope that the fall will kill its prey.
Or at least disable it, and he'll do it again.
Whatever is left will be carried off to its lair, which itself is rather extensive. The geography of the world has resulted in an abundance of caves and pocketed rock. Giant open caverns are commonplace, most famously used by humans for their undercities. Hole takers also reside here and build their nest rather
That makes sense, living underground.
It consists of a main room, food cache, egg room, and exit. Most notable about it is that the entire...
Does it have a bank, though? Does it lay in a bed full of gold coins? I'm imagining it does. Do not lie, Sawyer! If it's raiding caravans and gold, I guarantee you there's a bed made of it.
The entire thing is gilded in shimmering, glittering metal. The walls, floor, ceiling, and all is reflective, beautiful alloy of the various metals found in the area.
Oh,
Herein
never
lies the
mind.
most important possession of the dragon. In the wild, hold takers will consume a soil called laterite, which is rich in iron. They may spend a lot of time searching for deposits to devour and will take other metal ores on the surface as well. Within their furnace organ, derived from the flame gullet, it melts down and regurgitates this as molten material with which to line the nest. This biology classifies it as a member of Cauldrocora, the furnace core dragons, which also contains red racers and wailing bishops. After using this ability, their faces glow red from the heat, and extra heat is expelled forth as a breath weapon in its
That's
own
a
right.
picture of Smaug.
Gilding the lair is a lifelong endeavor for the Hole Taker, and they'll stop at nothing to expand their homes. This puts them in conflict with humans, who need to adapt especially to this dragon with a variety of... If only they had a means to absorb information in a quick and engaging way, like that offered by Skillshare, today's sponsor.
No! Sponsors! But anyway, yeah, I would imagine this would be where this... Hang on, let me scroll just a little bit further. You see this, guys? This is Smaug in real life. Imagine the red scales instead of the blue ones. Yeah, this is Smaug in real life. If he were decided to terrorize humans in our world, this would probably what he looks like in real life. But we're going to skip that here.
Of Skillshare. Join today. I am pleased to be approached once more by Skillshare to promote a platform for learning, self-improvement,
And check out his book!
Thank you again, Skillshare.
It's coming
Now,
out
back to the
soon!
video. A predator of this size and scope ignores humans in favor of better meals, as is seen with the Great Kinsbane in the Hullbreaker. Generally, a Hole Taker follows this rule. But when a Slayer encampment or a city prospers, the billowing smoke of the forge calls this dragon like a homing beacon.
It's raiding
Why lap up
it's
rocks and
raiding the
soil to
gold and the
beautify a lair,
banks!
when the humans have already processed that metal themselves? The dragon received its name for a reason, after all. It will rip the ceilings off of armories, swallow every sword, shield, and coat of armor. It bursts open city gates and devours anything that glitters. The scalding air it produces from its furnace organ chokes the citizens with its heat, much like how a beekeeper smokes his insects before harvesting the honey. So aggressive are these raids that many regional dialects refer to the creature with a word that roughly translates to, quote, "Greed runs thick through the monster's veins, clotting its heart and dimming its soul," end quote. Such characterization, of course, is worded poetically, and does not consider that this is an animal fulfilling its needs.
No, it's greed incarnate!
A person rebellion attack would think this. Speaking of names, it is also called the eight-handed dragon, in reference to its derived wing condition.
Eight-handed?
While most species possess 6 digits, even 7, the Hold Taker takes the record with a bizarre 8. 4 structure the wing, and 4 are free claws, which are used to slash and poke and prod along the weaknesses.
Okay, hang on, let's go ahead and count. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the tips, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. It actually is 8. Lit!
A building can have. This wing structure makes quadrupedal movement uncomfortable, so this dragon stands tall and bipedal, something like a gigantic eagle. And its wings fall to its sides like the tattered cloak of an usurper. The adult life
I mean, I wouldn't imagine it being on the ground wouldn't be needed so much since it flies everywhere.
The eggs are laying in clutches of 4 and, like the parents,
okay, these are beautiful eggs.
This protects them against would-be brood parasites. A year's gestation and ferocious protection results in a small, withered-looking whelp. Dark brown and skinny, they hardly resemble the magnificent parents. Fed by the micro-ecosystem inhabiting the lair, they quickly learn how to chase rats and flitter after small birds. By a month, they are strong enough to leave the nest. Driven by instinct, the clutch departs one by one. Strong flyers, they seek the company of other species of dragon, and begin the next phase of their life. Hold Taker whelps will preen, clean, and monitor the nest of their hosts in a process called squiring. As they integrate into the life cycles of local dragons, each Hold Taker will grows up with a unique set of skills to take into adulthood, making no 2 encounters exactly the same. In return for their adoption, the Hold Taker will allow the descendants of its host family to live within its territory as it ages into a gigantic ancient dragon, offering passive protection. And in some cases, these descendants offer it food in old age, enabling some rare, truly formidable Hold Takers. It does not always go easy, as many times the whelp will approach a solitary dragon that will simply eat it, ending its story there.
So, in other words, this dragon can cooperate with other dragons throughout its lifetime, learn from other dragons, and come to the 8. Yeah, it really is man versus dragon.
Other predators, aggressive herbivores, or even humans might be eager to exterminate the threat while it's young. This luck can swing the other way as well. There are rumors of a Hold Taker who successfully squired with a great kinsbane, the two collaborating to take down dragons and sharing the meal. The former would chase down and herd escaping dragons.
Yeah, we really gotta see who this guy is.
Tackle and crush on the rocks below.
The horns should have looked in the wrong place.
As the two species do not generally get along. Kinsbane in the mountains will often prey on approaching Hold Takers attempting to settle in the mountains of the north. Before the egg, courtship is an interesting premise as well. Males fly spirals over their lairs, shouting their fury in a bid to catch female attention. Her arrival is met with immediate inspection in the air, a spiraling maneuver where she gets as close as she can without actually touching or losing momentum. If successful, he then leads her into the lair for the next phase, showing her his glittering hoard. Her approval then means they may mate. After the deed is done, by instinct the female will break the heart of the male with her talons in a last test of fortitude.
If this is why Smaug is hoarding all that much gold, he would be getting all the ladies. I mean, hallways of gold that are miles and miles of coins and goblets and all that. Oh, yeah, that would be a female dragon's dream!
Dude. The chests of male hole-takers are heavily protected, almost resembling a vest and made to endure this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they look very well protected.
And hatchlings grow into dragons, bearing thicker heart armor. Those who die then feed the mother, producing larger and more viable eggs due to the increased nutrients. The resulting hatchlings have weaker armor, but emerge bigger and more active. Now for battle tactics. So, a hole taker is raiding your city.
Shooting it with a black arrow would not work very much.
The classic lance and shield may be sufficient enough to deter it. But at adult size, the ballista is a necessity. Since this dragon regurgitates most of the metal it eats, it has less of it infused within the scales as added armor. This keeps them light, but more vulnerable. A team using bolas may try to keep its mouth knitted, while the assault team launches a peppering of lances in its direction. Enough arrows may dissuade some hole takers into leaving, but determined ones that enter the city must be dealt with differently. As it moves forth, the Slayer risks being trampled, air-fried, eaten, or sealed into a coffin of molten metal. Slamming doors may alter its attention, and a sharpshooter may try and take an eye out. Bombs and other small weapons can disturb the subterranean walls and crush it under stone, and filling a room with an incense burnt from a white-knuckle plant will, in large doses, spin its head and ruin its aim. It'll do the same to you, though, so be careful.
Yeah, I'm keeping that in mind. I don't know what the plant you're referring to is.
Are drawn to the chaos. Notably the opportunistic rattle-dread, who may pick off survivors attempting to escape, or gut butchers slithering into the now open rooms. Dragons are a huge threat in this world, and the Hole Taker capitalizes on that. It was created to be the antithesis to the advancement of civilization, truly enacting its wrath the moment a society produces a little too much. These beasts are one of the big capital dragons of the project, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you especially to my Patreon. Stories there.
I would especially imagine that is the kind of dragon that our fairy tales and all of the ancient stories of folklore would be based on, if we're gonna be honest. But anyway, let's see what the cannibal dragon is right here. Let us proceed even further. Because I think we saw the hull breaker. Now, who's this dragon?
Exists a concept of the apex predator. It is the beast introduced to remind the audience that there is always a bigger fish. Now, execution of the idea varies. If done right, then you can introduce a powerful narrative threat to your setting while proudly waving the banner of coolness that comes with being so high on the food chain. If done wrong, then you run the risk of appearing edgy for the sake of being edgy, or the predator might just receive eye rolls rather than the roar of applause. However, the role of a large, imposing beast is both fun to write and often necessary from an ecological standpoint.
Yep.
So I'm adding one to my setting, the Dragon Slayer Codex. In this video, I aim to construct a powerful animal even among dragons, explain how it can reach such power, how it operates in its ecosystem, and how it impacts the cultures that live among it. So, without further ado, let's venture high into the mountains, clamber moss-ridden boulders, and seek out the great Kinsbane, and witness how it impacts its world. Now, to create an impressive predator, it's gotta be huge. As easy as it would be to just hand-wave it, I'd like to set the stage on the ecosystem that supports such incredible size. Our quest begins in a locale known as the Caldera. Simple yet effective name. Situated rather far north, it is unusually lush for something in the Arctic Circle, and that is due to the land's past. The evidence of an ancient Armageddon is visible throughout the entire world, and many speculate its origin
a very large
here.
volcano.
For, as its name suggests, the caldera is a supervolcano, now eons old and dormant. The entire valley is warmed with its residual heat, which seeps from the earth, resulting in the region becoming thick with foliage and, of course, wildlife. And with a plethora of prey comes predators. Dragons of all manner can be found here, in greater numbers than elsewhere. Carrion feeds many, but wildlife density is enough for hunts to be rather successful in themselves. This predator population is important because as their numbers flourish, there now exists a new niche opportunity, the dragon-eating dragon. This subgenre of creature isn't new and can be seen in other media and some games, serving as the big bad that can easily kill what was difficult for the characters prior.
Can we have an ecosystem? Can we have more dragon films, please? And thank you. I mean, this concept alone is an awesome world to explore. Imagine this being in a video game or something, where you are a sort of explorer or something, and you gotta dodge a bunch of dragons and catalog all their activities and all that. Oh, a journalist. Oh, that kind of exploration would be dangerous!
In the Dragon Slayer Codex, it's much the same way. However, I never enjoyed the trope where the apex is a creature perfect at everything, tireless and almost too impressive. So here I engage with a creature met with both great strength and great limitation. So, unsheathe your swords and raise your shields, because here's what the Codex has to say about the great Kinsbane. An avalanche of muscle and horn, man and worm alike crumble at its glare. The Kinsbane is named for its habit of feeding on other large dragons at every convenience, being labeled the bane of its kind. And its body is specialized for just this. Armor wraps itself like cracked leather around its body, studded with thick spines.
And the horns, again, why is it at the tip of the snout? Shouldn't the horns be, like, over the head?
The forewings are heavy and powerful, headed by two gripping talons. The arm strength is what names the overall clade of this dragon, Bellinal today, to which the aforementioned Hullbreaker also classifies within. Its tail is armed at the end by a bramble of spines much like that of a Thagomizer, defending it from rear attack, while its head is coated
I'm
in a
staying clear of that tail!
horn-sheathed teeth and two curving horns at the end of its snout. The observant scholar might recognize these as defensive traits, more common in herbivorous animals. And they'd be right. For as much as the great Kinsbane attacks other dragons, it must bear the brunt of their retaliation as well. An older specimen will always be deeply scarred from this dangerous lifestyle, and many succumb to these wounds sooner rather than later. The average lifespan of this dragon is about 30 years, and this is from failed hunts rather than old age. Ideal situations
So you basically die young.
But that is exceptionally rare. And speaking of rarity, its trophic position means that the great Kinsbane is already a low-density species in its own right. They reach an interesting position where they are simultaneously at the top of the food chain, while also being rather removed from it. Let me explain. Having such large and impressive prey means that it is a feast and famine lifestyle for the Kinsbane. They eat massively before retreating to their lairs and entering a state of cremation.
Kinda like what bears do.
Reptiles. The sound and scent of large dragon congregations awaken them from this stupor. But do not be fooled,
buddy,
as a
you don't
sleeping
want to be
Kinsbane
near
can
those
react to
set of
food
jaws. What are you
unconsciously
doing
and will
sneaking in?
lunge at
You're
any
gonna
strong
get...
scent in their immediate vicinity, including the clever slayer who thinks they can take it out asleep. Their brumation can last up to a month at a time if needed, which lets their territory resettle after a hunt, and ensures that the massive dragon does not take more than is needed. And speaking of hunts, how does a dragon like this catch prey? With splendor, of course. Let's set a scenario. An old great Kinsbane wakes, its lair cold from inactivity. A passerby would assume that it is just part of the rock wall it lays against, up until it moves. It clambers atop the mountain where its home is settled, scanning the area for movement. When a suitably large dragon catches its eye, such as the one nesting on its very same mountain,
Uh-oh.
Launches off the side, pulled by the gravity in its large wings. Like an avalanche, it grapples its target and drags it down the mountainside with it, tearing down its armor and breaking wings on the stones beneath. At the foothill is where it lays the final blow, the crushing weight of the entire Kinsbane slamming its target into the ground. It wastes no time. Its horns aid in pulling apart its victim's scales, and the Kinsbane swallows these torn chunks whole.
You're telling me that the Kinsbane broilies its prey to death? Yeah, I'm just picturing. Okay, so let's digest this a little bit. Okay, so it basically scans, finds a dragon, flies over high above, drops down, grabs it with its wings, and grinds its prey against the cliffside, then throws it down to the bottom of the cliff, and then crushes said prey item as it comes down, killing it. And then it goes for the feast. That is terrifying. No fire needed. I was going to ask if it breathes fire, but if it does that, no. Definitely do not get in the way of that avalanche.
The skin between its scales is elastic and can slightly stretch to accompany large quantities of food, as this dragon is not keen to share. Its weight means that the dragon cannot take flight from flat ground, so it must scale the mountain again before sleeping off any injuries sustained from the battle.
I mean, I would imagine
it stops to drink from the rivers and springs that run through the area, and on its climb reassesses its territory anew. Scent glands within the tail leave marks of its presence to conspecifics, and the
Sawyer, if you're watching this right now, I love your work, but you should really consider renaming this dragon to the Broly. 'Cause I'm just imagining that killing tactic.
Dragon will fell trees for the same reason. This royal patrol, as it's called, is an intimidating sight indeed, but one that most have little to fear. Since the Great Kinsbane specializes in such large prey, it pays little to no attention to the smaller animals of its habitat. This results in an entourage
I wouldn't imagine
of
it'd be
sorts.
going after anything small.
Mountain and forest beasts who see a patrolling Kinsbane are keen to follow in its shadow.
That is the weirdest looking rabbit I've ever seen. Is that even a rabbit? And why does it have bat wings on its feet? What is that creature? A bat-footed rabbit or something. I don't know. Weirdest the creature I've ever seen.
Birds and small tree dragons rest atop its craggy back. Forest armorheads, usually fearful of dragons, rest against its scaly side during breaks. Greynecks, a type of derived cervid, bleat songs of celebration as these smaller animals stilly clean the Kinsbane scales, parasites, and dried blood.
Little antelope, why are you celebrating the Kinsbane? Is it because it was killing your predators or something? 'Cause if that's your predator, I would be running!
Each group peters out as the Kinsbane continues its climb, higher and higher to its home. Bards sing of this dragon as king of the weaker ones, a guardian. This sentiment has led certain villages establishing themselves within the same mountain as a Kinsbane's lair, and claiming it as their guardian deity. To them, this massive dragon keeps the others at bay, others who are more apt to seek out and consume humans for food. Though, while writing, I have found this relationship isn't as peaceful as it might initially seem.
I would
And
imagine
speaking
too
of writing,
peaceful.
I found great improvement in my own world building, authorship, and penmanship abilities through my time with Skillshare, today's sponsor. When they asked to work with me
Sorry,
once again, I was
Skillshare.
rather pleased to
I
accept.
appreciate it, but no.
Kinsbane does. Thank you again, Skillshare. And now we return to the video.
Return to the Broly!
As stated before, the Great Kinsbane does not pursue smaller beasts, as they are not worth the caloric investment.
Yeah, it's
For
too
such
big!
a powerful animal, it seems quite peaceful, actually. After reaching its lair atop the mountain, it may be seen gazing into the horizon, soaking in the world before entering its chamber for another month of stasis. Despite this calmness, enough human activity may be enough to rouse one, however.
Uh-oh.
The ruined city
Yeah,
of
see, there it
Hence
is.
was once a bustling center of trade. Under the protection of their kinsbane, they built above ground, expanding the borders of the Undercity tenfold. Raiding dragons were snuffed out by the lording kinsbane, and many Slayer expeditions took on more campaigns emboldened by their higher position on the food chain, as it were.
That sounds like a very
However,
bad
The
plan.
now large queendom meant food rations were less efficient, and slums began to develop at the edge of town. Hungry peasants took to hunting the surrounding lands, lowering its natural abundance. No prey meant less wild dragons entered the regions, and those who did were slain by a now robust military who began harvesting the parts for more gear.
That
As
is...
the months
Yep.
dragged on,
I
no
think
food
we all know
and
where
no
this is
dragons
going.
made the kinsbane restless. It was spotted soaring over the region, looking for new hunting grounds to which it found none. Then, one evening, the queen looked out to her village and saw it abandoned, peppered by trails of smoke. Breaking the silence, the thunder of beating wings. The frontal gate to the Undercity was always sealed tight, but the beast, using its horns, pried open the gates as one might fold a piece of cloth. Starving, the Mountain Father, once protector of the Queen, ate his subjects. Reports afterward are hazy. Some say that a house of blacksmiths managed to seal its head in molten metal, calling it the King in Bronze, soaking its crest in a metal crown.
That basically
Others
killed
say
it.
it ate everything, even the city's original name, explaining how only later it was named Hence. They even claim that when the old dragon died, it left its bronze-cast skull deep within the ruins of the underground city. A story which dazzles the exploratory souls who hear it. Ever since, those in the shadow of this species of dragon have lived as the parading animals do, quiet, unassuming, respectful. Their kinsbane is seen as a rank above even kings, and its needs met first, even
Yeah,
if
I
it's
would
simply
imagine so.
leaving the
Who's
beast
gonna
alone.
tell it no?
As you can see, mythology plays heavily into the cultural perception of the Great Kinsbane. Few even dare to think about how it functions as an animal, but not here. There's still much to learn, such as its spectacular courting ritual. In winter, males develop teal and orange blotches on the chest, dewlap, which grows quite extensively in elderly individuals.
Okay. Male grade kinsbanes develop teal and orange coloration on the chest, dewlap, and ear as breeding season approaches. This coincides with heightened territory marking, and scent glands in the tail become more potent.
And ear, which coincides with increased scent marking behavior.
Oh,
At
he
the
was
end
reading
of their
it.
color shift, they congregate at an ancestral courting ground. Over the centuries, it becomes crazy.
Look at this handsome boy! Bright aqua green with touches of bronze? That's a majestic color scheme. Yeah,
They're like in appearance, the ground packed and devoid of plants. Here, the larger female inspects each arriving male, who lifts his head, displays his dewlap, and emits deep, thrumming calls. After making her pick, she engages him in a duel. They push each other far, assessing each other's power. If satisfactory, they will mate,
go for it,
producing a
Broly!
clutch of 3 heavy eggs, each resembling a ball of iron. In
A
fact,
cannonball!
all dragon eggs possess several thin iron-infused layers to protect the young dragon within. And after a gestation of a year, they emerge. The young are born well-developed and can walk right away. Their scales take on an orange
It's a
hue
cute
from the
little
iron-rich
bronze!
egg.
Look at that
Iron
cute
is
thing!
found within the scales of all dragons, especially the kinsbane, as it needs it for its armor. This thirst for iron is a primary factor in why a great kinsbane will select for dragons as prey over other large animals. They seem to have a reliance on this metal. It builds their scales, their toughness, and their ability, and
All the better to
eligibility
hunt other
to mate.
dragons!
This thirst begins young. Both parents defend the nest and undergo accelerated skin shedding. The sloughed-off skin feeds the hatchlings, imbuing iron and protein, and all the nutrients a young predator needs, at expense of some of the parent's armor. This may be a tempting time to seek to slay this dragon.
Test his luck!
Now,
And
one needs to
pays the
remember that
price.
there has been, as of writing, no successful hunts against a great kinsbane, and there
Can we also keep a note? That dragon is all doing this while sleeping. You know the old saying goes, never tickle a sleeping dragon. That is a very bad idea. Take notes. Don't be this guy up here. Otherwise, you're gonna be over here.
writing, no successful hunts against a great kinsbane, and there really doesn't need to be. People have no real purpose in slaying this dragon, which passively protects them, even if it's under slight threat. Now, when they're young, and at a year old, they're a quarter of their parent's size, and when their dull green scales start to replace the previous orange of their youth, the parents chase away the young, and, in a hormonal switch, break their bond and go their own way themselves. A young kinsbane is especially vulnerable in these years, as it looks for territory. This search can take them far, farther than they'll probably fly the entirety of their lives, and is a factor as to why populations of this dragon can be found in almost any continent. Granted, the dragon population within is robust enough and the mountains are high enough. These flights are challenging and are the most that this species will ever travel for the rest of their life. Granted, they find unclaimed territory. At most, the adults can manage an hour of airtime before needing rest, their weight held by the 16 cartilage spurs supporting their membrane, which is why they prefer their hunts short and quick. Sometimes, other kinsbane will displace another from their lair if the location is desirable. Displaced adults are rather dangerous, now needing more calories than ever to fuel its constant wakefulness. These are more likely to pursue novel habitats, such as the individuals found in the South Gorge lands and even certain parts of the Burning Hills. They may find themselves also drawn to the frozen mountains of the North Ice. However, the Hull Breaker has prevented their spread. The kinsbane, at full size, is a beast that lives wherever it pleases. They are an animal of great power, but one who relies entirely on the healthy ecosystem supporting it. Thank you guys for watching, and I want to say thank you for 16k subs. I'm so thrilled that so many of you are engaged with this project.
And I hope to get more ammonites soon as well. If you like Broly as a dragon, please leave a like in this live stream and subscribe if you want to see more awesome content like this. And I also do gameplays and awesome things like that nature. Hashtag Broly the legendary super dragon. Yes, let's do it. It's official. This is Broly the dragon. Indeed. Oh, like, That's Broly.
At their core, I'm so in folklore.
Actually, let's check out this one. Because, let's see, this is the Hellbasker. Alright. Hellbasker. It better be extra hot. We haven't seen many fire breathers in this stream. Let's see, you missed the Wailing Bishop. You saw the Hall Taker. So let's see where we are going today. Let us proceed. A-boom. We're in Dark Canyons now.
What an unruly dragon. This species seems to rely on its fire more than anything else. Let's find out why this evolved and how it uses it
I see
in
blue
today's dragon
flames, so you
style.
know it's hot.
I'm Sawyer Lee, and I've been writing and illustrating the Dragon Slayer Codex, a survival guide to dangerous dragons. Today's species requires us to launch an expedition into the labyrinthine Gorge Lands, an arid region neighboring the aforementioned Dune Sea. To survive here, one must first note some features common to this rocky maze, such as its incredible verticality. Deserts are known for their horizontal expanses, but the Gorge Lands extends as far down as it does up, formed during the ancient tectonic events that shaped the geography of this world. The region is a scar, a deep scab that reminds us of the temporary balance of nature. To enter, any sort of climbing gear is a necessity. I recommend grappling hooks
Maybe a
and
glider
spiked
if it's wide enough.
Taken out by something as unheroic as a slip. As for clothing, camouflage neutrals are recommended, as many of the creatures here have decent to poor eyesight and may overlook you. Of course, any water skins and food rations are necessary. Just make sure they're secured tight and won't reveal your location by scent. Before entering, I recommend you stop by a Houndkeeper village, or ideally their undercity. Here you can, funds permitting, purchase a sand sled, extra grapples, or rent a dog handler if you are after a target and need it tracked down with efficiency. Here in the Gorge Lands, sandstorms and sun damage.
I wouldn't imagine dogs would be a good place in a canyon. I mean, we're talking steep cliffs and very unstable terrain. I mean, you'd find mountain goats, but even for big cats like pumas or mountain lions, that's a dangerous trek, especially for a dog.
Which are weakened by the towering rock walls, but in its place come faunal dangers. These come in all shapes and sizes, such as the deer-sized trunk-bored foot, likely among the first creatures you'll see. These rodents feed on morning petals found atop the cliffs, using their ears to dispel heat. They are numerous and may fall prey to many predators here, such as the blue-beaked griff, a turkey-sized bird that dispatches prey with a hooked beak and thorny legs. They often give chase to humans and are found in the middle levels.
Not much of a climber by the looks of it.
Here too you'll find the clay false dragon, a flying reptile with modified ribs serving as wings. They possess true flight, but share no relation to the large dragons documented in more detail within this.
Does it breathe fire? It looks like a
guide. Like hawks, they seek rats and moles, and may be trained like one too. Nettlebacks are alligator-sized lizards feeding on cactus flesh. Common food for humans, they are baited easily and are drawn to several hunting grounds where they are quickly culled and carted to the nearest city tunnel. Now you'll know you have entered Hellbasker territory by the presence of a gorge armorhead, a member of a family of boar that have become near ceratopsian in both appearance and lifestyle.
It does
Being the
look
largest herbivore
like
within the zone, they are ideal prey for the
rhinoceros.
finicky and choosy Hellbasker, who prioritizes a dangerous hunt for the promise of a better meal. More on that in a bit.
That is a gnarly looking head. I mean, it already looked pretty impressive from the side, but look at this! That is a crown of horns! Those are cheek horns! That almost, I actually would have mistook it for a very strange mutated cow or a very strange dinosaur. But this is a pig? Evolution here is wild.
Armorheads produce hog's wool, a very breathable yet durable material highly prized by any wearer who knows their worth. These creatures have a nasty habit of breaching human-made tunnels with their den making, which leaves the city vulnerable to dragon attack. Now that we have a gist of the ecological happenings within the gorge, it's time to turn our attention to the beast at hand, the Hellbasker. Now onto their characteristics. These dragons are very lizard-like in appearance, with the sprawling posture which portrays their position in the ancient Lacertipode.
It even has a chin!
This archaic body plan works well for them, enabling the
It is I, the Crimson Chin! What in the flaming hellspring chins is going on around here?
the worm to squeeze into tunnels, hide in crevices, and adhere to walls while remaining low profile. A look to the wings shows significant slotting and a round shape overall, ideal for tight turns and short bouts of airtime. The head is wedge-shaped and tall, seen also in the skull. Further analysis suggests that this creature has a keen sense of smell, and indeed individuals may be able to recognize each other by scent. Interesting to note, their teeth are flexible like that of a python, able to lay flat inside the mouth. This keeps the teeth out of the way during their incredibly powerful bouts of fire breath, which is also seen to char their scales black over time, much like burnt metal.
Yeah,
Charring
definitely
aside,
see that in the
Hellbaskers
face.
sport vivid coloration, which also acts as a warning sign to larger dragons or competitors, such as the similarly named Hellmouth, a mammal who will get his own video later, of their fiery wrath.
We'll have to see that
Strong
one.
fire, big attitude, and vibrant scales cover for the fact that, compared to many dragons, the Hellbasker isn't all too large. They measure about 2.4 meters
Not
in
as
length,
big as the other
which is
entries
about
so
8
far,
feet,
but
and being so
Blue
low to the
Flames,
ground, they're not
don't mess
very
with
tall.
it.
Their tails are short, but allow the beast to avoid getting pulled out of hiding, and hide they love to do. Regarding their ecology, most of the day is spent dormant. A keen eye may be able to spot one of these dragons motionless, waiting from a ledge, half asleep, great resembling some sort of giant viper in demeanor. And much like a serpent, react lightning quick to the presence of prey. Let me give you a scenario. An armorhead, alone and separated from the herd, stumbles through the twists and turns of the ravine's belly. This confusion alerts a female Hellbasker. She recently laid eggs and needs to regain her strength. When the boar wanders close, she strikes, streaking through the air with haste. She must be efficient, or a Hellbasker cannot truly fly, and relies on an efficient glide to reach its prey. One wrong move, and she will crash into stone. Distance closed, the dragon crashes its wedge-shaped head into its prey for an initial stun, then clings to its back and beams a split second of its intense flame into the back of the neck, melting enough of the vertebrae to where the beast will no longer fight back. She will subsist off of this meal for a week before needing to hunt again. A word.
Are flamethrowers still banned? I mean, talk about getting yourself cooked out here. Sheesh. I mean, yeah, you don't have to worry about anything insanitary. You're cooked your meals right while it's fresh.
On the fire. The Hellbasker's flame makes this species one of the most powerful dragons alive, and certainly the most potent fire breather in this world. Its color starts pure white, with a blue surge before lacing with yellow at its very farthest point. A tell of its heat, which can reach 1,926 degrees.
That is a very large number. Yeah, you're cooked. You're cooked. Yeah, armor plating. Yeah, that's just the frying pan. That thing right there, that's the flame. You're cooked. You're absolutely cooked. Literally and figuratively.
Degrees Celsius in 3,500 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that guy is especially cooked.
Much like the venom of the diminutive coral snake of Earth, this intense temperature cripples prey much heavier and stronger than itself quite quickly. And, most importantly, dissuades predation on the dragon, which may find itself targeted by the
predators.
And even the sand-skimming whaling bishop, who it encounters while roosting in rocky shelters for the night. The bishop makes a point not only to prey on adults, but even crush any eggs they find. Hellbaskers are known to steal bishop whelps while the parents forage as well. These temperatures are enough to melt rock, and coalitions of hellbaskers excavate deep tunnels with their flame. Cooling down is important to all fire breathers, but especially this species. 5 gills line each side of their necks, and 3 on their torso. After a blast, the dragons will expel the rippling heated air from these vents, and must rest a while before using this ability again. Most dragons have these gills, though they are well hidden. On the hellbasker, however, it is especially obvious. All of this species' energy goes towards maintaining their intense flame-based ability, and they are keen not to waste it. Any threats are met with a loud, raspy hiss and puffs of steam. If it is recently eaten, this does not guarantee an attack. Step away before it decides you're worth another jet of fire. Hurricanes from the tropical continent east of the Gorgelands bring 3 weeks of rain a year. During this time, the fauna of the Gorgelands multiply and feast on the abundance of food. Hellbaskers must be swift. Luckily, the female's femoral pores act as a homing beacon to local males, who arrive and compete for her attention, posturing to display their colorful backs, shooting jets of flame into the air, and even fighting if one will not back off. These wrestling matches can include several males at one time, if the female does not select quickly enough. The winner is he who outlasts the others and thus gains the right to mate. Mothers lay the eggs deep within their tunnels, in a pile of plucked beast hair, soil, and shed skin. Clutches usually number around 16, and are incubated for a total of 6 months. The first 4 are spent, with the mother fiercely protecting her brood sprawled atop them. During the remaining 3, she hides each egg within a small crevice or hole around the layer, reducing the chance of losing the entire clutch. Whelps hatch precocial and care for themselves immediately, taking on the niche of a medium-sized lizard. Though one should note, even newly hatched hellbaskers can breathe a jet of fire. Note how these whelps have coloration meant to blend into the sand. As they age, it will tint a plum color, then blacken with age as it is exposed to its own fire. In regards to their relationship with humans, the dragon's size means it will not shy away from preying on them, who would make a rather substantial meal, I would say. When excavating burrows with their fire, or pursuing an armorhead into one of theirs, it is possible that the hellbasker will accidentally enter an undercity, being one of the few species capable of a total breach. Often exhausted from the fire breathing, however, it is possible to catch an invader while it is recovering and slay it. But one who is fully rested will feast on whoever it finds. Additional stress from being attacked may spur further aggression, and the tight halls and corridors of an undercity happen to be the perfect habitat for this species, who just love enclosed spaces. Because of this, it is easy to understand why hellbaskers are feared by the public. The key to overcoming fear is understanding, however. And scholars are pondering over this species to better prevent breaches and build new settlements in soils that they do not prefer. The flame gullets of this creature are sought after for their oils and fats. It is unknown how, but they seem to make forges burn hotter.
It would have to be something extremely flammable, or, like, especially reactive. I mean, something comparable to rocket fuel. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that poor pig that got cooked a few minutes ago. imagine something that is equal to your size flying over, grabbing onto your back, and then point blank blasting you with flames at the back of your head. That thing is pulling an Attack on Titan, but with flamethrowers. Yeah, let's go back right here. Hold on, Red. Yeah, right here. That dragon is pulling an Eren Yeager with a flamethrower at the back of the neck. Yeah, you're cooked with one strike. Ugh. And that's even more heavily armored than most creatures. And at least very heat resistant. With flames like that, and that's how it kills? You're straight up cooked.
It is unknown how, but they seem to make forges burn hotter. Now about battle tactics. If stalked by a Hellbasker, find and stand within the widest, most open space you can find. If it has no immediate access to vertical surfaces to climb upon, it cannot use its gliding or jumping abilities. The sprawled reptilian posture will make it ungainly
So it's not
on
a
the flat
flyer.
surface and put it in a defensive
But it does
mode.
glide very well.
Bait that fire out any way you can, and take advantage of its exhaustion. Only encourage a flame attack if you are absolutely prepared, however. Full exposure ignores any shields, armors, or crafty contraptions at hand. Now,
I would
note some
imagine
of its
the
strengths and
flamethrower is
weaknesses.
especially powerful.
For its strengths, we have the fire breath, of course. It's the strongest known of any dragon. The fire is said to be ineffective at killing things, but this dragon seems quite apt at doing just that. Second, survivability. It can withstand harsh elements and is immune to chemical warfare.
I mean, it's in the
Boost
canyons
congregations.
and a dry
They're not
area,
pack
so...
hunters, but tolerate other dragons when fully fed, much like large crocodile groups do on Earth.
Oh,
They may
that's
decide you are
comforting.
worth
There's
gaining
more
up
of
on
them.
if you are too bold. Now for their weaknesses. Their size and stature. Much like a large winged lizard, it has limited stamina and cannot give chase for long after its initial flight. And it's quite primitive. Being a rather basal in form, it is easily baited by traps and will strike at decoys placed within range. Tracking this dragon from within the gorge lands is simple. Look for burnt stretches of land first and foremost.
Yeah,
So you see, if they wish to extend their airtime,
any black and steaming rock, you can bet that there's a dragon nearby.
gliding Hellbasker will breathe a line of fire before itself, letting the rising heat give them an aerial boost. This leaves dark, scorched marks in the surrounding rocks. Otherwise, the only thing you'll hear is a long hiss from a beast surprisingly well camouflaged as it sat perfectly still on
That's
the rock
more like
above
a
you.
battle
Hope
cry.
it's not hungry. Pheromone have been extracted from live-caught specimens currently held in an enclosure for study. Be sure to
Yeah,
use
see?
this
There it is
responsibly,
again.
such as in traps.
Flamethrower attack
Opening
on
it
Titan.
prematurely will attract Hellbaskers near and far, and such an end is sure to burn.
Yeah.
Now that we understand a little more about the natural habits of the Hellbasker, I would like to thank you for watching. This dragon was one of the
Yeah,
very
no
first
problem. I'm definitely gonna take notes as to not go down in the canyons, cause I'm actually fearful that if we do, I'm gonna be climbed on. Something's gonna grab on top of my back, and then a massive fire beam gonna blast flames into my brain. Brutal. But anyway, yeah, is there any... Any others that we should check out? Let's see. Here's Cannibal. Oh yeah, there's
the first depiction of
Well, I guess... Let's see. For those that actually didn't watch earlier, hold on, who's watching out? Who's all out here? Let's see. I guess I could actually try... Yeah, I'm actually interested in seeing the one in the burrows, because there's a wide variety involved here. Hold on. Let's see, make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Okay, so... This is the burrowing dragon, called the Gut Butcher. Yeah, that's already intimidating. Let's see what horrors await us.
The image of the swamp is one of a black ooze, drooping leaves and thick fog. The air hangs heavy, and the most wretched of the world's beasts come crawling from its oily
Perfect for
riverbanks.
a black
It
dragon.
is a place of death and of disease. I find this description rather enchanting. As someone who grew up among mires and peat, I would spend my early years exploring each corner of the biodiverse, colorful, and often hot swamps around my home. But
Were
that
you
is
in
what draws
Florida?
me to the fantasy iteration. Quite the opposite, they seem cold, gloomy, and drab, an aesthetic mirrored in antique artworks of prehistory, which featured dinosaurs sliding over boulders and around bubbling lakes. This
That
imagery
image
is
is
powerful,
changing quite
reflective
fast.
of the untamed hostility marshy terrain indeed does present. So I aim to combine the two and populate it with... what else? Dragons. So, welcome back to the Dragon Slayer Codex, where today I will lead you to a mire of mud and of fog, and a dragon as dreadful as its name suggests, the Gut Butcher. Many dragons in this setting are large
Oh yeah, there's
and
Broly.
imposing,
Hey, Broly.
much as one expects a dragon to be. As powerful beasts, they can level walls and swallow prey whole.
Yeah.
But the Gut Butcher turns that on its head. These are small beasts, about a meter or so in length. They do not crush homes, but instead slither within them. They cannot burn hundreds in a single breath, but indeed can focus all of their draconic ilk towards one single human. Just as a black widow can enter your house through a crack in the door, or a coral snake can slither up your plumbing, the Gut Butcher is dangerous in a way all its own.
It looks
As mentioned, the dragon is
nasty.
small and very light. They are dark in coloration, possibly a result of staining caused by the filthy water, and have greenish spots on their wings. Gut Butchers actually possess 4 wings, much like the painted bloodletter, and the
Not
2
many
are related
creatures
under
have
the
4
grade
wings.
Allocridae. Interestingly, these dragons can twist their wings so tightly around their serpentine bodies that they come to resemble snakes themselves, and this efficient form allows them to reach the damp, dark places they love to inhabit. They live a measly 3 to 5 years, and are very common. Their faces are calloused
Oh,
and
they're
toothy,
common.
and from the
Great.
front nearly resemble a skull. Binocular vision in the species is readily apparent.
I'm telling you, this thing is the offspring of a black dragon from D&D. I think I'm starting to see a development with how sadistic a black dragon actually is. They started out young, and this is the actual form. But how cruel is this beast?
By the front-facing eyes and equally vital to their lifestyle. I've said their name a few times by now, and I suppose it's a good moment to explain the why. The
Yeah,
butchers are
tell
voracious, cruel opportunists. They lay in their watery holes and wait for large animals or unlucky humans to saunter on by. Unfurling their wings and leaping into action, the creatures use their hooked, gnarled teeth to adhere to the skin, then spray potent acid from their derived flame gullet. A combination of acid spraying and a crocodile-like death roll rips a large wound in the side of the body, and the dragon hurriedly shoves itself inside, greedily devouring their victim's organs before the others, yes, others, get there first. For when one dragon rips an entry, other gut butchers in the area, excited by the concept of a new meal, shove themselves into the victim in hopes of obtaining a scrap. When several individuals feed at once, the body jerks and flails about, as if it were a puppet. This phenomenon is called a dancing corpse.
That's a horrifying concept! A parasite that causes your body to flail around after you are long dead!
Grim sight often considered a worse fate than being burned alive. Those discovering the beast could think of no better description than one who butchers their guts, of course.
Yeah!
After feeding, the little dragons will remain within the body for a while, resting. The fading warmth is what appeals to them, and other scavengers tend to veer away from corpses infested by these dragons.
Lest they become
Once the
victims
body
as
is
well!
cold, they slither out and into the nearest body of fresh water, held by the still, algae-choked waters of the swamp. As a semi-aquatic species, water is also important to their reproduction. Each winter, thousands of these dragons congregate in deep lakes to breed in a fashion similar to what's seen in the spawning pools of some fish. The waters are filled with the churning of uncountable quantities of these creatures, and it is an excellent time to, if in an emergency, poison the water. Gut butchers are quite resilient to many types of substances,
poison
but a
the
special
drinking
mix of
water?
salts, coal, and sulfur can kill many in a spawning pool. Humans have seen occasional use out of this dragon, however. Their acid specializes in weakening flesh, and those who restrain and extract the substance can use it to coat their lances and make entry into dragon hide much easier than for their bladed weapons. A notorious cult has centered itself around the concept of the swamp, and keeps small cages filled with gut butchers, who they use to execute their sacrifices. The human-like skull of the dragon is seen in various ritual places.
You know, I said in the beginning, this would be a whole very unique world in D&D. A cult that uses small parasitic dragons as blood sacrifices? Yeah, I'm smelling a lot of villains here. That is horrifying. Sawyer, if you're watching this, when are you gonna make a D&D book? Cause I can see this as a whole campaign in itself. Ooh, yeah, Dragon Slayer Codex D&D edition. Gut Butcher. Must make a D20 saving throw, otherwise you get eaten alive.
And pieces that they wear. Gut butchers have been known to inhabit wells and slip into outpost or villages undetected. Often, the trader will return from their long absence to find the once active underground village cold and hollow. Each corner writhing with the slithering of serpentine bodies. Once several of these dragons infect the settlement, their size and numbers make them near impossible to remove. How do you deal with such a dragon?
How do you?
Treated armor made smooth as possibly can be. Layered leather or metal works wonders, and anything without leverage for their drilling is ideal. Avoid walking in the swamps alone. As once one gut butcher adheres to you, well, you know how your story
One becomes 5. and 20, and
now,
before you know it,
for
your
another
entire
update. We
torso
are
is
at
filled with them.
19,000 subscribers. Incredible. Amazing. I'm like floored. Thank you. At 20, if we reach it, I will discuss the book itself and how it will look. So stay tuned.
And if you're watching this on my channel, we're actually almost close to 1,000 Ammonites, so I am very thankful for you guys. I know I haven't been posting very much since the end of the year of 2024, but I'm very thankful for you guys, and I'm so glad you have joined me on this journey. And I think I'm going to need therapy after seeing these horrifying monsters burrowing into a guy's guts. So let's go ahead and claw him out of that, cause ugh. Let's see here. Anything else I should be looking at here? Actually, yeah, I think you might get the general. Actually, you know what? I think there's one more, I suppose. Let's have a look at the. Where is it? Bishop. Ah, here we go. Of a thunder dragon. Yeah, we've seen the deserts. We've been traumatized by the swamps. And we saw a bunch that are terrorizing the mountains. Let's see what happens in my home turf, the deep sea. Without further ado, let's see the Thunder Dragon. Oh! Oh, it's already starting to get shocking in here.
Back to the Dragon Slayer Codex. I just want to take a moment and thank all of the new support I've received since creating this channel. To all who subscribed, commented, followed my socials, and even joined my Patreon, thank you. I'm thrilled at the response to this project and I'm excited to deliver more. Now, on to the video. Last time, we hiked the mountain trails, tracking the elusive Veilrite in its smoky shroud. Today, however,
we didn't watch that, but if we did, you'll have to watch that yourselves on this.
To seek out our quarry in the cold, rocky shores of the southwest continent. For today, we hunt the aggressive, terrible, tasseled thunder maw.
Oh, that's
Habitat.
that sounds like a
Towards
comfortable
the
name.
southern pole of the world, there exists
Is
a region
everything in
known
this
as
world
Dead Cliff.
this dangerous?
Here, cold waves crash against sharp stone in a mutually abusive exchange of eternity. The shores are the favored habitat of hardy species, such as the southern titan crab, the species that forages the shore for its younger relatives,
that is a lot of crab
whom it
leg.
cannibalizes without remorse. The shallows are lined with slick, black seaweed called Fate's Slip by the locals.
Yeah,
For the crabs
that's
only
already
attack a
sealing your
person
fate.
lying prone, for a reason unknown to us scholars. The frigid waters are host to a surprisingly productive ecosystem, and fish of all manner may be seen surviving here.
Hold on, let's read what we got here. Let's see, a silver glint, open water schooling fish, manglemouth shark. Almost looks like a mix between a seven-gill shark with a bit of mako, and the head of a bull shark. Actually, let's see. Nowadays prefers areas near the rocky bluffs. Common. A blue boy. Hey, look at this cute little blue boy. He's so cute. It's so. Look at his little eyes. Look at that. He's just swimming around like having a good time. And a yellow fin shank? I don't know. That looks like a seagull. Hang on, a swallow-tailed fish bird. That is a bird? I thought that is the strangest looking bird I've ever seen.
When traveling, take some things to note. First, sharp rocks. Falls may be fatal, as with any capture
I
by the
mean,
riptide.
with the seaweed already, I think that's established.
Will feed a kingdom to those who can navigate it. Will turn you into fish food for those who cannot. Third, stormy weather. Common. There is an unusual overcast of gray clouds. Icy rain may follow. Dress accordingly.
Yep.
Now that we've set a scene where the water is cold and inhabited by sea horrors,
Stormy seas and cold waters.
Inhabitant.
So basically Antarctica.
To quote a
That's
local
not in the
fisherman,
icy
the
areas.
tasseled thundermaw is rippling with muscle and flexibility, sheathed in lightning. Such a vivid description is, unfortunately for us, accurate. This species is large, weighing in at about 2 tons, is 5.5 meters in height, and unfathomably long.
Yeah.
Their tail
Almost
comprises
like
most of their length,
like the
and is the
lasher.
longest of the dragons known. This tail is seen to writhe in coils subconsciously, as if it had a mind of its own. The animal's back is covered with a leathery, shell-like skin, worn like a cloak over its head and neck. This
Almost
adds
looks like a
protection
mix
while
with a
retaining
seahorse.
flexibility, which it has in spades. The thundermaw's skeleton can bend further than it initially seems, allowing it to adhere to rocky reefs, the seafloor, or any unfortunate creature caught in its grasp. The legs are stout and feet large and webbed. These paddles are adapted to life at sea, but also help
I would
in crossing
imagine
the
it's a
salt
good
waters
swimmer.
of its habitat. Thundermaw have conical, pointed teeth ideal for a diet of slippery prey, and a terrible hooked beak, which gives it a snarling appearance. Along its face and entire body are electrical organs, highly developed and keen to the smallest of movements, and the most
Okay. Placement of the electric organs in the head and neck region. It uses these to locate objects by the distortions they cause in the electric field, and to subdue prey. Oh, it's a giant eel. It's a giant electric eel. Yeah, it's already dangerous. I mean, it's called the Thundermaw.
devastating of discharges. One may question why an aquatic dragon possesses large wings, and the answer lies in a few explanations.
Could be good for swimming.
Firstmost, they use their wings to fly. A full-size dragon will manage an average of 17 minutes in the air, flying
So
with
it can
laborious
fly.
effort, slow speed. This movement is primarily for territory hunts. They also use these wings to swim, pushing them through the water with ease. And lastly, they catch the smallest speck of warmth from the occasional cracks of sunlight, helping to regulate body temperature.
I thought
It
they
should
would
be
use
noted,
that.
however, that all
use
dragons
the
are
tail for
warm-blooded
propulsion
of
a bit.
various degrees. Ecology and behavior. This is a particularly nasty dragon. The Thundermaw is called the Sea Ogre for its notorious temperament and ugly,
Sea
ferocious
ogre?
roars. This beast is slow on land
Are there
and
other
benthic in the
ogres
water,
as well?
meaning it cannot run from threats. As such, it holds its ground and develops an aggressive response to any outward stimuli. They prefer near-shore habitat, deep enough to submerge fully and away from the toss of waves, but shallow enough to see the surface, for they have a penchant for sinking in the water. Negatively buoyant, Thundermaw push off the ground to move, using their strong legs and immense, muscular tail in a mixture of kicks and slithering motions. This huge species sustains itself primarily on fish. It remains stone still in the water, claws gripped onto a rocky surface. Able to hold its breath for an hour, its passively moving tail tip holds a lure to attract fish. Once the area is swarming with sea life, the thundermaw discharges its electrical power in a single, mighty flash. Dozens of fish several meters around lie dead, and the thundermaw eats at leisure. The conductivity of water serves as the beast's own trump card, enabling it to disable opponents without even moving a muscle. The dragon is host to a type of octopus that coexists in symbiosis.
It's a cute little guy!
The ink mayor adheres tight to the dragon, absorbing its thunderous charge into its own electrical organs. The octopus vigorously cleans the dragon, picks its teeth, and warns of other hostile leviathans via jets of ink in the enemy's direction. Such service is said to be the only thing the dragon will tolerate, and to tidy like an ink mayor in this world refers to an overtly pampering a captain in hopes of gaining influence. Reproduction. Tasseled thundermaw may be occasionally seen resting within a sea cave outside the water. This is a vulnerable spot for this creature, one seen only in nesting females, for their eggs cannot survive the harsh, cold brine of the sea. She is visually identical to the male, only told apart by the presence of pheromone pores along her inner legs and tail. Occasionally, a male will haul itself on shore in an attempt to crush the eggs and mate with the female to sire his own. The defensive female will always attempt to threaten him away, fighting if need be. Courtship is not the strong suit of this species, and the aforementioned pheromones are the only method they use to find one another. Should the eggs survive and hatch, they are born small, writhing balls of meat. Uniquely, thunderball whelps have tiny wings compared to their body size, and spend the first decade of their life deep within the sea cave, dining on crabs or fish trapped in the tide pools within. They fledge at 20 years of age, where they are identical to adults, only shorter. Here, they enter the sea in search of a territory to call their own. They will enter breeding age at average of 45 years old, and, due to their slow metabolism, live an average of 200 years.
That's a long time!
Relationship with humans. Dangerous. Sailors fear this dragon, seeing it as an embodiment of the storms and rocky shores that make the area so perilous to sail into. They say the thundermaw will keep up with rowboats escaping a marooned ship, only to rip into the bottom with a single bite. Children are encouraged to exterminate juveniles found within the sea caves in which they play. And adult dragons may see the cavern-like underground towns of humans as worth infiltrating or investigation, taking many human lives in the process.
Well, this is gonna be a battle of...
Battle tactics.
That's a battle.
In single combat, a human has no chance, especially in the water. However, there are some things a prepared slayer can do. Note its strengths and weaknesses. Strengths. First, electrical field. Detects anything within a 40-meter radius. Electrocutes underwater within 20 meters. On land with body contact. Second, watery habitat. Most often found submerged, which makes slaying very difficult. It will either swim away or drown a crew in a death of brine and lightning.
Almost. This is actually reminding me of a Lagiacris.
The thundermaw is incredibly strong. And now, its weaknesses. First, poor movement. While very quick to turn and lash in its immediate vicinity, this dragon is a slow swimmer and practically drags itself while on land. Second, poor eyesight. It relies on its electrosensory organs. Eyes are tiny and nearsighted. Third, lack of obvious armor. It is covered in thick, scaly skin rather than the armored plates of other dragons. vulnerable beneath each wing. And fourth, slow reproduction rate. A long-term method of population control, should humanity extend its influence beyond the cavern cities it calls home. A simple piece of advice is to never enter the water where a tasseled thundermaw may be present.
Obviously.
It is the mistake of the foolhardy.
Otherwise, in the case you slip into the water, well, you can already imagine what happens when a toaster goes to take a bath. Not a very good mix.
Who believe they could take on a foe in its element. Their heroic deeds result in a fried corpse bobbing in the waves.
Yep.
Instead, position yourself above the water, perhaps on a rocky ledge. Earlier, you ideally laid bait on the beach and set minor explosives off in the water. Agitated by the sound and devoid of prey, now frightened by the detonation, the dragon will haul itself onto the shore to lunge at the bait. Now, you launch your bolo. Once nodded over itself,
At time, assuming?
aim 1, 2, even 3 times with your large mounted harpoon before sending it deep into the back of the beast. With luck, that will be it. Remember, the best way to hunt a dragon is with your mind and not your muscle. It is the great gift bestowed upon humanity and the tool that will set us free. Conclusion. Now, sailor, you know of the dangers of the Dead Cliff Sea, an embodiment of thunder found in the waves. Remember, be prepared, return alive.
Yeah.
Thank you to my patrons for making this possible. You are the
Yeah. Thanks for the tips. Now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, lest I be a little bit traumatized thinking about all those. The gut butchers. Ugh. Anyway, if you enjoyed this live react and you want more, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, get lucky today, and I'll see you Ammonites at the next dive. Yen bye and good night.